All right, well, we're getting close to the GameAbove Sports Bowl, and happy as always to have Central head coach Matt Drinkall to talk about the matchup, talk about the season. It's always great to see you, and just how excited are you for this bowl game, and what's been kind of your take on just your first season here as a whole?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. We're unbelievably excited about this opportunity. There's a lot of this game that's really unique and really cool just for us at Central. It's the first time we've been to a bowl game in half a decade, so that's pretty exciting. Um, we get to play in the state of Michigan, which is huge. Like I can't even explain that to you. And then in the great city of Detroit, where we have a billion of alumni in the area, and then we have our recruiting footprint is basically the state of Michigan plus the Chicagoland area. So for us to get matched up against a team from Chicago is fantastic. And then a Big Ten opponent that's awesome like Northwestern, and Coach Braun does such a tremendous job with his program. It's there's a lot of what he's done. You try to model a lot of what you're doing as a head coach. So all of us just, and you're like, you know, I know it's a somewhat of an inconvenience, but like you get to go through Christmas Eve and Christmas Day on at the bowl location at the hotel with your team. Like that's a great experience. You know, I mean, a unique experience to have with you the rest of your life. So it's just watching how excited our kids are. I can't even tell you.
Well, and a lot of what you said there is kind of what I wanted to touch on, and we'll start with this game being played in Detroit. I heard it last week when you did your bowl game press conference about what it means to have the alumni base here and everyone, all the fans having the opportunity to see them or to see you guys rather play. What does it mean for all the kids on the team who are from Michigan to be able to play in Detroit as well?
Yeah, it's huge too, and a little bit even the kids that are right across from the state border line from Ohio. I mean, like to have that location where you got to remember too, it's not only the kids that have like grown up in the state that are Central fans or like everybody's a Detroit Lions fan. So you know what I mean, like to get a chance to play at Ford Field at their stadium, which I've only been to for Mac Media Day, but it's one of those. The venue itself that a lot of NFL teams have tried to model and steal a lot of components of it. So just everything about it's first class. And then the kids from Michigan are not only excited, but the kids that are returning in this program are excited because it's also the site of the MAC championship game. So the more logistics and hopefully familiarity we can get with that, with Ford Field, the better off that prepares you for down the road.
And obviously, you guys were right there in contention for the MAC championship game. Can you just talk about the biggest areas of growth that you've seen within the team, within the coaching staff throughout your first year here?
Yeah, I think man, that's a great question. It's hard to put into to answer quickly. I mean, the biggest areas of growth was, I guess, just like watching them believe, because that was harder than people think at the beginning. You know what I mean? It's like where we're, uh, I think it's kind of a cop out where people are like, today's kids want something quick in return. Everyone does. Everyone always has. Like everybody's. That's the reason I get rich quick schemes. Like, that phrase exists. So I think one of the things that was harder at the beginning was like, all right, we made all these changes and you make all these changes off the field and you're saying, okay, this is going to translate to wins on the field and success on the field. So you start the first game out, we go and we get a win on the road at San Jose State, but then you play your Power Four games right in a row after that, which didn't go great. So it's just like, all right, well, you're sitting there at 1-2 and you're doing the things the right way. And you're sitting there telling them, like, hey, even though we're not seeing something right back in return, this is going well. And for those seniors and the kids, for not only led by the seniors, but just the whole team and the staff to be bought in to like persevere that part of it and then play pretty tight, until we were going into the last game of the season with a chance to go to the conference championship game, which, I think we were preseason number 10. So that's pretty, I think a great accomplishment and testament to the seniors here and the kids on the program.
And I remember when you first got here talking about, how this just feels like the perfect fit for you. How have you seen that, or how has that been validated for you across this year with, just the area, the fan base, the players that you brought in, and the coaching staff?
I mean, all of it, I guess. Like I the smartest thing I did was hire a really good staff. Like these guys do a tremendous job serving our players, and that, like you said, like everybody's a great fit here. And I think that that's only getting better and better. And we've done like the thing that's been really cool is we've demonstrated a lot of competencies outside of just the wins and losses. Like I can tell you now, we just got the highest team GPA in school history in the past spring semester. Well, we just shattered it with a 3.34 this semester during the season. So just doing things like that, being involved in the community, reaching out to our guys that are in the NFL or that played in the NFL, and all of our alums and all of our fan base and the city of Mount Pleasant. It's just been really, really nice to like watch everybody like I like the old school Midwest good people all about relationships. Like it's all just been validated and then some. It's just, I mean, it's been a humbling but very, very rewarding experience. Maybe the most rewarding experience of my life so far.
And I was gonna say, even aside from football, I know you just had a baby girl, so congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
I remember I was coming up to your practice, I think the day that you went to the hospital, and I was talking to a couple of the guys about the Western game, previewing that game, and you had to bolt out of there to get to the hospital. Just tell me about what it's been like, just being a dad and now having a baby girl in your life that all these guys it seems like have shown a lot of love to as well.
Man, I like it's so 1 year ago today, I was living in the Courtyard Hotel in room 604 up in the suite up there, right next to the stadium. And my wife and I were not planning on having kids. So it is when people say your whole life can change forever in a year, they're not kidding. You know what I mean? Like, uh, that was wild. So like, we had our little daughter Madison Sky. She's fantastic, but she was born on October 30th over in Midland. So what was crazy is, we're sitting there playing Western for like whoever wins is in first place in the conference champion for the conference race. We're at Kalamazoo on a weekend. So it's like the rowdiest, craziest environment. And I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday, my wife went into labor. So I ended up on game day driving from Midland, Michigan, all the way down the couple hours down to Kalamazoo and got there about 45, 47 minutes right before kickoff. And then led the whole thing until about the last minute, and they converted a 4th and goal on the 7. And credit to them, they did a great job. But that whole weekend was crazy. But then just since it's been, I don't know, it's weird. Like when you hear people talk about like dirty diapers and boogers and burps and all that stuff, it's like it grosses you out if it's not your kid. But when it's your own kid, it's like you're, developing. I don't know. It's like when you coach one of those really dirty offensive linemen that everybody who plays against him hates his guts, but if he's on your team, you'll love him unconditionally. Having a kid is like that. So she's super cute. Kim's doing great. And it's just, I mean, it changes the way you see everything for sure. I mean, it wasn't love at first sight when they first come out. They're all like slimy and gross or whatever. I waited till they wiped her off and cleaned her up and gave her a shower and all that stuff. Then she started looking pretty cute. So yeah, it was just I recommend having a bunch of kids, just probably not during football season if you're a football coach.
Well, I mean that's amazing regardless. So that congratulations. I'm glad I got to ask you about that because I remember just when Greg texted me, he was like he's got to go. Like it's code red right now. Got to
Well,
get
and it just as the season was unfolding, you just sit there and you start kind of looking at the calendar and looking at the opponents and looking at the due date, and you're like, no way this is going to happen the week we play Western. No chance. And then, of course, it does. So,
but that's awesome. So, but bringing shifting it back to football, I guess. Just tell me about the prep, the intensity that these guys have had, since they found out their opponent in bowl game date.
yeah, it's actually kind of weird. So, one of the things that we do, like from a periodization standpoint, is we factor in rest quite a bit. So we actually gave them last week was pretty much, other than some lifts, was pretty much off. So it timed up with finals, which worked out obviously really well. That was a smart thing to do in hindsight. And then just we had gone so many weeks in a row where you didn't have a bye week, and the factor in the Maction games, which were kind of those wonky midweek So just to get us some back on routine and get your legs under you. And then the other thing was we've really gotten a couple really high quality practices under our belt just based on who we have to play. So we're getting less total reps in a practice right now, but the reps that we're taking are all like uber game speed, fast and physical reps because we're going to have to do that to match Northwestern's speed and physicality. So we're not getting as many total reps as a normal work week, but the reps that we're getting are higher quality, I guess, if that makes more sense, or closer to to like a game max.
Absolutely. And you touched on it a little at the end. I was going to ask, what are some of the biggest things about Northwestern that stand out when you watch the tape? And you've given Coach Braun his flowers. Like what about him and his coaching style and philosophy do you kind of admire and also need to be ready for?
Man, like uh there's a lot of it that is like staring into a mirror. Like he coaches his program to run like a full-blown machine. Like you can tell like every part of the program is evaluated and functional at a very high level, very high standard. From the way that those guys stretch to how they're like how they behave on their sideline operation between series to they just do it. They're you hear the term discipline a lot, but they're just so consistently disciplined with calls, alignment, stances, keys. Um, Assignments. They understand their fits in the defense or the offense. Like they just do a really good job teaching, and then they do a great job catering to what their guys do really well. And at the same time, like having his fingerprints on the actual football team, where it is just a physical, ass kicking. I mean, operation. They do a great job. I mean, uh, in the last you have to go back to mid-October before you find a game that they didn't either win or lose by only one score. So they've been playing really, really good football, especially as of late.
And as you go into this home stretch now, we're in the final week of leading up to the game. What is that going to look like for you guys? Is there anything that's going to change? And what is the, I guess, maybe 24 to 48 hours before the game going to look like? I know you were talking about Christmas. What's in store for that? Just yeah, tell me a little bit about how this is all going to play out.
Yeah, so we'll travel down on Monday after we practice here, and then the rest of the practices will be at Ford Field, and then we're actually setting it up so our Christmas Eve dinner is a little bit earlier, but and then our Christmas Day morning we will practice at 11. I'm sorry, we'll have meal at 11, followed by a brief practice, and then a really really nice dinner, but early. So that way the idea is, hey, Christmas Eve everybody's away and you can kind of do your own thing most of Christmas Eve, and then you have Christmas morning, and then we knock out our stuff right in the kind of the midday of Christmas Day. So then that way Christmas night, again, you can have dinner, the really nice dinner and hang out, and then but everything else other than that will be pretty much standard game operation. And then the big thing we just talked about before we break for the weekend was just preparing that this is a business trip, but a reward at the same time. So what it can't be, I don't want to turn the thing into like fall camp, boot camp, prison camp. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it can't be we're going down here just to screw around and it's Macy's Day Parade and we're all just having fun. So there's going to be a bunch of the bowl events that'll be a great experience for us to do, and dinners and meals to attend, and that'll be great. And we'll have a good time when we're doing that. But when we have the football work to do, we really have to be able to be professionals and turn the switch on and off between the events and football requirements.
Absolutely. And yeah, now I kind of wanted to also step back from, the bowl game in this season. I'm wondering, because this is a team that I covered a lot this year. How much of Mount Pleasant High School football did you get to watch this year?
Man, how fun were those guys all season?
They were awesome. They were
Those
awesome.
guys, we actually laughed. I was joking with Coach because when we played Toledo at home, we played during like the perfect storm to get no people here. It was during Thanksgiving break, so no like faculty, staff, students are here. Michigan State was playing at Ford Field. Michigan was hosting Ohio State, and Mount Pleasant was playing in the state championship game. So it was like everything possible to get every human body out of Mount Pleasant, Michigan, occurred and happened. But man, they do such a good job over there. It's just fun to watch and follow the entire season. And Unfortunately, they ran into DeWitt down there, who I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about or whatever, but we've got a guy signed from down there, pretty good players, and Coach Zimmerman does a great job. Those guys all do. That's some of the best coached football you can find in the whole state.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to get you in trouble. That was kind of another thing I was going to ask about because I know he had a fantastic game. So I'm sure you're very excited about that.
He's good at everything. So I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not, but he's pretty special player.
Yeah, for sure. And when you at the same time, you have the winter signing class kind of situated. Now you're getting ready for the transfer portal to open up. How do you kind of balance the bowl prep with like kind of scouting and trying to figure out your strategy for
Yeah,
once the portal opens?
it's incredibly challenging because the later you go, the later you go in the season, the later start you have really on recruiting and how that's going to work. So it's strange in the sense that you get done with the regular season, your bowl season goes all the way out for us until the 26th. We'll come back and do player exit interviews on the 27th. And then the portal opens basically right after that. So you like, and that opens meaning like you have to like, very limited time to figure out like what you need your staff to get on the same page, like build a model, um, a recruiting board based on availability, all of that stuff, and then you have to go get like those are usually positions of need. So uh, the part that's crazy is like all that happens, and then the window closes on the 11th, and then you go to the convention, and then classes start. So there is no like downtime or off time, and then your next season just gets starting up and going. So yeah, the portal getting ready for that and like navigating all the nuances and legalities of that is incredibly challenging. But everybody's dealing with the same problems we are. So uh, yeah, it's going to be a fun, exciting time. As soon as the bowl game gets over, just you shift gears into completely like it's like in the train tracks. You know what I mean? You pull that lever and shift onto a totally different track, but the train didn't slow down at all.
And I got one more question for you before I let you go. I have to ask you about your Bears and Ben Johnson. Breaking my heart over here as the Lions guy, but just what I also and really I wanted to ask also about just kind of what how much you kind of draw from other coaches like play calling and philosophies. I know Ben Johnson is obviously such a creative offensive mind, the Bears as a whole playing great, but also in the bigger picture, I guess, how much do you kind of take away from what other guys in the college and pro coaching profession?
Yeah, the Bears are crushing it right now. It's been really really cool to see. I think Caleb Williams is still he needs still what like 600 or 700 yards to be the first 4,000 yard passer in Bears history. I just read some report yesterday. They're talking about looking at their stadium in Indiana, so I'm curious how that's all going to work out. But yeah, that's been awesome to watch. And then I'm a huge fan of Declan Doyle, their offensive coordinator. So his dad was Chris Doyle, the strength coach forever at Iowa. And then his little brother, Dylan Doyle, who now works for the Bills, worked here on staff with us at Central for a while. So it's been really neat watching those guys get that thing going and the city of Chicago having a winner in football and hopefully big time here in hockey for about the next decade straight. So that would be pretty cool. And yeah, in regard to the question of do I get influence from 100%, almost 100% of everything I do, I steal from other people, almost 100%. Uh, it's really neat when you watch, like you talk about Coach Johnson for the Bears, but like when Ben Johnson, like he's such a good like play caller versus like I probably spend a little bit more time studying more systems, like collegiate systems, where in the NFL, like a really unique play caller because the systems are very similar, and the game is so much different than college. So having a guy that can like you look at like the Bears, I think they were toward the bottom of the NFL on explosive plays last year. Now they're first, all the same guys. So like you can tell like how good of a job that guy does. But collegiately, like there's a lot of like overall technique stuff that you steal from coaches. But I've studied a lot more systematic football at the collegiate level to steel and kind of decide like, all right, what do we need to look like and tweaks we need to adjust and what do we need to carry and how much is too much and the whole bit. So
Awesome. Well, that's all I got for you. It's always great talking to you. Wishing you the best of luck next Friday. That'll be a really fun game to watch.
it will be. It's going to look and sound like football, and we couldn't be more excited to be there in this opportunity to still be playing football this late into Christmas. That's pretty awesome. So thank you so much for your time and fire up chips.